This is Bob Wiggum with Remax Victory and Affiliates, living the life of a realtor one day at a time. This is going to be a combined video for steps 13, 14, and 15, which will cover how to communicate to the seller any defects you've discovered in the inspections that we discussed in video 12. Communicate to the seller, okay? So this document used to be called the post-inspection agreement, but I believe that's been changed to the defect notice now. Now, generally, anything that's a habitability issue, like there's a major leak in the plumbing, there are grounding issues with the electrical, there are the furnace doesn't work or is intermittent, air conditioning doesn't work, sort of things like that are an issue. Now, depending on the kind of loan you have, um, the lender would get involved in this also. For example, VA is very particular about what kind of issues need to be taken care of. If you've got chip paint in a VA loan and even an FHA loan, there is no way that loan's going to get approved until that's taken care of. Okay. There's a couple other things too that have to do with railing and that kind of thing. They're kind of standard. But on an FHA and a VA loan, the the house particularly has to be in very good condition. And on a conventional, they're a little bit more lenient on the condition of the property. It still has to be livable, but they're a little more they're more interested in just the general functionality of the property. So anyway, so what you do, you get after your inspection, you're going to get a report from the inspector, and in that report, they're going to call out things that are, in their opinion, are issues. Okay. Now things like I don't know, um, minor stuff that goes on, like a little cracked glass or something in a window, may not be a big issue. But anyway, anything that you report to the seller that's a habitability issue off of this report, pretty much the seller has to take care of it in some way, either money at closing or getting it fixed themselves. Okay, all that's important. Now, the seller can respond in one of three ways. They can give you money to fix everything, and if you do that, you need a contractor's quote that can be submitted to the lender if the money is going to be taken care of at closing. Okay. Two, they can fix it themselves, and you can have it inspected again to make sure it's fixed correctly. Or three, they're going to say they're not going to fix anything. Well, actually, they can give you money to fix some and fix some other stuff themselves. And then fourth, they're not fixing anything. Now, if not fixing anything has to do with any of it has to do with a serious issue, you can walk and get your earnest money back. But if it's something very minor that basically doesn't impact the livability of the house, safety wise, and legal zoning wise, then if you walk on those minor issues, you might be losing your earnest money. So you want to be careful what you reject or what you ask for, and then how you reject the seller's response. So then once the seller responds, you can and that report needs to be sent to the seller in the time frame called out in the contract, generally 14 days. It doesn't mean you finish the inspection in 14 days. That means you finish the inspection and you've actually reported back to the seller. If you report back on the 15th, the seller can pretty much say, well, you're buying this house as is. And if you don't, you're going to lose your earnest money. So you want to work closely with your realtor, and you want to work closely with your contractors to make sure that everything is or your inspectors and contractors, if you're using contractors, um, to make sure everything's timely manner. If there's a problem with the timing and it's not of your doing, then you can probably negotiate an extension on that with the seller through the realtor. Okay, so then you prepare the defect report, you sign it, you send it to the seller. Okay, the seller reviews it, either counters or signs it saying that's good, we'll take care of it. Okay, and basically, if the seller says they'll take care of everything, and you agree with that, then we're good. Okay. If the seller comes back with a counter and you don't respond within the time frame, there's going to be an issue. So you want to pay close attention to the timing on that. So in any event, that's pretty much the steps 13, 14, and 15. And with all that taken care of, we're going to move on to the next video now, number 16. Okay, so this is Bob, and if you got any questions, you can go to the beginning or ending of this video and you can check out my contact information, and I'll do what I can for you. So this is Bob Wiggum with Remax Victory and Affiliates, living the life of a realtor one day at a time. Bob out. Hello again, this is Bob Wiggum with Remax Victory and Affiliates, living the life of a realtor one day at a time. So this is video number 16, choosing a title company. Now, the title company is a disinterested third party whose responsibilities are to confirm the ownership of the property based on county records that have been recorded, and viewing some other documents. Their job is to clear the title, to make sure it is clear the deed, to make sure it is possible to move it from one buyer to a seller, or from a seller to a buyer legally. Okay, so what they do their research, and then once they're completed their research, based on whatever county records are available and that have been recorded, all the information has been recorded. They will communicate to the buyer and the seller that there is a clear to close, or a clean title. Okay, so that once the lender has a clear to close, the title company is ready to go too. Now, there's a lot of this behind the scenes work here, and the title companies they have a tough job because county records get screwed up and they've got to figure out what's going on. That's just crazy. But anyway, once everything is good and the title company is satisfied, then the lender has issued a clear to close, a CTC, clear to close, which means that they've done their due diligence to make sure that the buyer has can actually close on the property. All the money's there and everything. So we've got a clear to close. The buyer actually can choose the title company. It's the buyer's responsibility for that, to do that. And there can be in conjunction with the seller if there's some things that the seller might want to do. But in any event, generally it's the buyer that chooses the title company. So they will issue. There is a clear to close been issued. So the buyer will say, "I'd like to close at this time, at this date, and at this place." Okay, then the title company will confirm that with the listing agent, and if everything's good to go, they'll all meet at the place at the time, location, time, and place, whatever. So we're sitting around the table, and then what happens is the title company, the closer who works for the title company, will start passing paperwork around, explaining what each document is, asking the buyer and the seller to sign an initial where they feel necessary to make everything legal and compatible with the rules and regulations of real estate transfers. Sometimes the realtors have a document or two to sign too, but nothing committing, just confirming. So, so the buyer will sign, the seller will sign, and then when all is done, the all that's taken care of, the title company will collect whatever monies need to be collected at the table. So when the documents are ready and the money is ready, then we're finished. Everybody can stand up from the table and go about their ways. Now, at this time, if the contract was a occupancy at closing, then the seller will hand over the keys and any other information that was requested by the buyer's agent to the buyer. Okay, and the buyer can go from the closing table directly to their new home. Okay, sometimes there is a space in there between where the seller needs maybe 7 days of occupancy before they can vacate the property because they want to make sure that they can get everything out of there in time. And that's important for the seller because there are deals that actually fall apart at the closing table. And if they do that, and the seller has already moved out into another property, then they're basically got two properties now, and that could be a problem, especially if the property that the seller's buying and moving into is contingent on closing this property that they own. So that's why it's important for the title company to make sure everything is locked down. Okay. And of course, the buyer's agent and the seller's agent both are heavily involved in this to make sure everything flows smoothly. So, in effect, that's it for now. That's why the title company is important. And then if you've got any questions, you can go to the beginning or ending of this video and contact me at my contact information. Call, text, or email is fine. Love to talk to people. Love to talk to you if you got any questions. So this is Bob Wiggum with Remax Victory and Affiliates, living the life of a realtor one day at a time. Bob out.